Morning, everyone. Now this is the continuation of histology of GIT. This class we are going to discuss a portion of the small intestine. The small intestine, as we know, this is the largest portion of this GIT. So this portion, it is 5 to 7 meter long, and initial part this sheath-shaped portion is continues from this pyloric end of the stomach and finally inside the duodenal plexus. This portion is a sheath-shaped portion, and this is the smallest portion of the small intestine known as duodenum. After that, there are these two portions which is known as duodenum and ileum. This jejunum and ileum, they are this coiled portion lying between this space which is guarded by this portion of the large intestine, the ascending part, transverse part, and the descending part. So this portion contains both the portion. Initially, the portion is known as jejunum, and the terminal portion ends at the ileocecal junction. This portion is known as ileum. So these are the three parts: initial small part, duodenum, then is the jejunum, and this last terminal part, this is known as the ileum. So we are going to discuss how this portion is histologically different from each other. So what is the similarity between these things and this portion is that they are modified for absorption. This is the portion where the terminal digestion takes place, and finally the absorption is the major portion from where the absorption is taking place. So there are some absorptive modification, and these absorptive modification obviously they rest on a simple mechanism, that is folds. So there are multiple folds, because of which this surface area altogether it is 600 times increased. If it is unfolded, then it will be lesser. So there are three folds. Initial fold, which is known as plica circularis, or circular fold or semilunar folds. Now these plica circularis, this increases the surface area by 3 folds. And plica circularis is this portion as shown here. You can see this is the plica circularis. So it is the folded mucosa having the core of the submucosa. This folded mucosa, which is in a circular fashion, and this is a permanent fold, this is not temporary fold. So this is the plica circularis, this portion. This is more prominent in the jejunum, this portion having the fold of the mucosa and submucosa forming its core. So it increases the surface area by 3 folds. Second is known as the villi. Villi, which is a very characteristic of this small intestine portion. So this portion with the lining epithelium, it is folded, and the core it contains the lamina propria. So these are known as villi, otherwise known as intestinal villi. So this is the lining epithelium which is folded, and the core is having the connective tissue which is the lamina propria. So that forms the villi. And because of the presence of the villi, the surface area is increased by 10 folds. And third thing is that this is the portion of the villi which is shown here. Third is, you can see these apical modification, which is known as microvilli. And because of the presence of microvilli on the apical surface of these columnar epithelium or the enterocytes, the surface area is increased by 20 times. So altogether, this portion, this intestinal, because of the presence of these pores, total increase in the surface area is 600 times. When it is asked what is a villi, so you can see here the architecture of the villi is shown, and villus is this folding of this lining epithelium, having the core of the lamina propria. So each villus, it has a core of this lamina propria, which is a loose connective tissue that extends from the lamina propria beneath, and it contains fibroblast, which is a connective tissue portion, the fibers, then smooth muscle from the muscularis mucosae, and these lymphocyte and plasma cells which are diffuse all around. And it also contains the vascularity, which is the fenestrated part, so it contains the arteriole and venules. Along with that, it contains a characteristic central portion, contains a lymphatic, which is known as lacteal. So as shown here, it is the folded portion of the lining epithelium, having the core of the connective tissue, which is a loose connective tissue, along with the muscle fibers from this muscularis mucosae, and the connective tissue. Along with that, they have this vascularity, and the characteristic is this lymphatic capillary in the bone, which is the lacteal. And which it is very important for the absorption of the fat. Ravi? So altogether there are several thousand microvilli on the apical surface of these enterocytes, which is the simple columnar epithelium. So these enterocytes, which are lining this intestinal mucosa, they have around 2,000 to 3,000 microvilli on their apical surface. And as it is shown in this electron microscopic view, you can see this apical surface filled with the microvilli. And because of the presence of these thousands of the microvilli, there is a striated appearance of this apical portion. And that's why this lining epithelium is often known as having striated or brush border. You can see this portion is striated or brush border. It is not uniform. And this is only because of the presence of microvilli on their apical surface, imparting them a brush border appearance. About these microvilli, which impart a brush border appearance to the apical surface of the simple columnar epithelium lining the intestinal mucosa, these have this folded portion of the plasma membrane, which encloses the cytoplasm, which is elongating apically, and they also have a dense core of these cross-linking actin filament. So these microvilli, they have this core of the actin filament along with the cytoplasm, and it is wrapped by the plasma membrane. So this is a folding of the plasma membrane in fact. So the folded plasma membrane, it is having the central core of the actin filament. So that's how this microvilli is formed. Now, these microvilli, they are attached to each other by a glycoprotein known as glycocalyx. And these glycocalyx, they bind these nutritional portion, the final product of the absorption, to these microvilli. Also, they bind to the pathogen. So, these microvilli, they are bound together by this glycocalyx, which is a glycoprotein, and they are in with the absorption, binding to the nutritional portion, the final byproduct, and also to the pathogen. When we see this lining epithelium, it is invaginating into the lamina propria in the villi. इसी को ये करना. हाँ ये देखो ना कुछ लोग ये कर लेना है ना. यहाँ से भी ना. So what we can see here is that this lining epithelium, it is invaginating into the underlying lamina propria as short tubular glands. Can we see this short tubular gland? So this is the lining epithelium continuing into this lamina propria as short tubular gland, and this is also known as intestinal gland or the crypts of Lieberkühn. And this intestinal crypt of Lieberkühn, they are having the same lining, so they are continuous with that of the lining epithelium. So this is a simple tubular gland. These basal portion of the villi, they have this narrow opening of these intestinal gland. Can we see? This is the narrow opening of these intestinal gland here. So this intravillous space, the space between two villi, these have this narrow opening of the intestinal gland. This is a enlarged view. Also here you can see this is the portion of the intestinal gland, basal portion shown here. You can see plenty of the cells which are pouring their secretion into this intestinal crypt, and they are finally opening into this intravillous space. What are these cells which are opening into this intestinal crypt? So, yes, basally placed some cells. These are the stem cells or progenitor cells. Other than that, in between are some transit amplifying cells which are forming these cells, which are being replenished by this basally placed portion. Also situated between these stem cells situated are the Paneth cells. Paneth cell provide innate immunity to this intestinal mucosa. They are these Paneth cells. Also there are some enteroendocrine cells, which is a part of Apert system. We will discuss that one by one. And lining epithelium having the enterocytes as well as the goblet cells, which is a unicellular mucus secreting gland. So the cells altogether are enterocytes involved with the absorption. Then are goblet cells, which are mucus secreting cells. Then are these enteroendocrine cells, Paneth cells, and the progenitor or stem cells and their intermediary. So these are the cells which are lying in the intestinal crypt or lining the intestinal crypt. And as we can see, this is the narrow portion between the intravillous space where these glands finally pour their secretion. So intravillous space, they have the opening of this intestinal glands. Here we can see the lining epithelium. So the mucosal lining shown here in the high power view, what we can see here is that this apical portion of these, they have this striated appearance. This is only because of the presence of microvilli. So This brush border or the striated appearance is because of the presence of the microvilli on the apical surface of the enterocytes, which is a columnar epithelium, unicellular simple columnar epithelium, and this simple columnar epithelium, as we know, they have this nucleus near the base, as we can see here. Nucleus is the oval and is near the base. Apically, they are having this microvilli, which is imparting a brush border appearance to. Now, interspace between these enterocytes is this mucus secreting unicellular gland, which is known as goblet cells. So, what we can see here, this apical portion here doesn't contain any these brush border appearance, rather this is empty, and this is the portion from where the mucin is being poured. So this is the mucosal lining of the small intestine. What are these goblet cells? So goblet cell, they contains this protein which is mucin, and it is a unicellular gland. And when they pour their mucin which is a highly hydrophilic substance, so it spreads and it imbibes water. So a small amount of mucin, finally it enlarges so much and covers the intestinal surface like that of the compressed comb in a shaving foam. So once it is poured, it expands because of its hydrophilic nature of the mucin, which finally forms a mucus covering over this small intestinal mucosa. And why this covering is needed? Because the digestive material, digested portion which is coming from the stomach, it is highly acidic. This time, it is highly